All right, so I'm joined by my guy Reagan, Griffin Jr. So how you doing, man, today? What's good?
I'm doing great, man. It's a beautiful day in paradise.
Okay, so we're going to transition to some NBA talk. Now, for a while, I thought that Bill Russell was a top 10 player for a good while. Now, I always had him around number 9, number 10, maybe number 8, but I always had him in the lower tier of my top 10. Never in my top 5, never over Kobe, never over LeBron James, never over Larry Bird. I just don't see that. I think they're way more talented players, and they have the accomplishments, not of Bill Russell's caliber, but enough accomplishments where it cancels out because their talent is just so much better than Bill Russell. But as I thought more and more, and Reagan did a good job on his podcast talking about how he thinks Bill Russell's overrated, and I gotta be honest, after thinking this out, and after seeing ESPN's list that came out saying that Bill Russell is arguably the 4th greatest player of all time, ahead of Kobe, ahead of Magic, ahead of some of these great players that I think are just flat out better, and I have nothing against ESPN. I don't have nothing against them at all. I respect those guys over there. But I gotta say, based on these lists, and I think Bill Russell's overrated. I do. Because when you think about if someone is overrated, what does that mean? Where are they perceived in the first place? If you look at most top 10 lists, I would say 70 to 80% of the time, Bill Russell's going to be on that list. I don't know if he's quite a top 10 player anymore. I just don't, after looking at the research and diving into some things and just thinking this out. Now, I understand there's the argument that he's the greatest winner of all time in basketball history. Not even going to dispute you there. 11 championships, 12 finals appearances. The greatest winner of all time, not going to argue that. But the reason why he doesn't make my top 10 after doing some thinking and why I think he's overrated is because as a talent, he really lacks in that area. And part of your greatness is actually how good at basketball are you? He's not as talented as Kobe, not as talented as Magic, not as talented as Bird. And when you look at big men, not on Kareem's level as far as talent, not on Hakeem Olajuwon's level as far as talent, not as talented as Shaq. And I can make the argument Tim Duncan is more talented. And those guys have won championships too.
Yeah.
And so when you look at Bill, if you just actually go watch a Bill Russell game, what is he doing at an elite level? And when we look at the numbers, I'm not big on statistics, but again, these statistics might surprise you. He's never averaged 20 points per game in a season in his career. He's never shot over 50% for his career. He's a 6'10 center. What are we doing here, people? And he's not a great free throw shooter. And when he played in his era, there were 9 to 10 teams in the NBA. So you can say, oh, Bill Russell's got all these titles, man. He's the greatest winner ever. Okay, that's fine. But did he go through the things that Michael Jordan went through as far as going through all those rounds in the playoffs and facing all these teams? Because if you only have 10 teams in the NBA at the time and you have the best squad, and Bill Russell most of the time had the best players, he had the best team, you're probably going to win the championship. So he played with a lot of Hall of Famers, a lot of great players. And I gotta say, the way Bill Russell is perceived by the media and the way he's covered, I think that he's an overrated player. And I gotta say that I put someone like Hakeem Olajuwon in the top 10 over Bill Russell, and you can make the argument Kevin Durant, Wilt Chamberlain, Steph Curry, whoever you want, you can say they're better than him. So what do you think about Bill Russell being an overrated player? You pretty much probably agree with that, but you can probably expand on that a little bit more because you were the first one to the punch, I would say.
Hey, man. I mean, you said a lot of it, and I'm going to preface this because I'm a Lakers fan, and I know a lot of people will hear my take on it and immediately just assume, oh, he's a biased Lakers fan. He's just hating on the Celtics. You know, he doesn't know. He never watched. I mean, I got in a Twitter debate. Dude's just looking at me. You never watched any Bill Russell tape, man. Go watch the tape. You ain't never seen no Bill. Bro, this is me speaking objectively as a basketball observer, as somebody who knows the game, as somebody who, you know, has been an analyst of the game for for as long, you know, I'm only 19 years old, but I've been analyzing players within this game for a pretty decent chunk of my life. And I do think Bill Russell is a top 15 player of all time just based on his accolades that he's achieved over the course of his career. But when we talk about the greatest players of all time, I want to define, as best as I can, I want to define greatness. And that's really hard to do, but what I boiled it down to is greatness is equivalent to what legacy that you leave on the game of basketball. And legacy to me is comprised of 3 things, being the accolades that you acquired, the impact that you had on the game and culture in general, and then the talent that you displayed. And the reason that Bill Russell's a top 15 player all time to me is because, he has the accolades and he has had a huge impact on both the game and culture in general. Bill Russell was a guy who, off the court, made a lot of progress towards social justice and civil rights, things of that nature. So, yeah, I'll give him the top 15 nod. But when we talk about as a basketball talent, come on. What are we, like you said, what are we doing? What are we doing? Go watch some Bill Russell tape. He was good at three things. He could defend in the post, he could protect the rim, and he could rebound. I'll wait, man. If you could tell me anything else that he did at an all-time level, I'll wait out and hear it. But from what I could observe, that dude did those three things at an all-time great level and nothing else. He averaged 15 points per game, essentially, on his career, on 44% shooting from the field, and that's on 42 minutes a game, mind you. In 42 minutes a game, you're coming out with 15 points on 44% shooting? 15 points.
That's a good point. That's a great point. No, I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, I mean, come on now. We've established that his value to the team, it essentially comes entirely on the defensive end of the court, right? Now, even at their best, how many guys throughout the course of NBA history do we put at the all-time great level when their only value to the court came on defense? I mean, we're looking at Rudy Gobert, Draymond Green, Jonathan Isaac, Dennis Rodman. Those are the guys that we're talking about here. I mean, you got to score the basketball. You got to put the ball in the rim to be amongst the greatest players of all time. Those guys are fringe all-stars at best. And this is in a time, right, when I talk about Rudy Gobert and Draymond Green, those are guys that are playing in a time when defense is as difficult as it's ever been. You can't be nearly as physical as you used to be able to be. And there's a lot more space that you have to operate within on the basketball court. The game is so stretched out now. Dudes are pulling up from darn near.
Bill Russell was not switching on to Steph Curry and Klay Thompson and things of that nature.
No, they weren't running pick and rolls like that, man. That dude was not having to do everything that Bill Russell did came essentially within 5 feet of the basket, which is fine. But there's a limit to how much impact you can have on the game when you're only operating within that much of the space. So what does that mean for Bill Russell? I'm going to say it, man. He is the greatest role player of all time. And
that's a pretty good. That's a bombshell right there.
There is no shame in being the greatest role player of all time.
Top 15 player, Hall of Famer.
I would never dispute that he's a Hall of Famer. I'll never dispute that he's a top 15 player. And to be a top 15 player as a role player, that's insane. That's an insane accomplishment. But he was the heart and soul that drove those Celtics team to 11 championships. He did the dirty work that no one else could do. But the bottom line is, when your impact is rebound, post defense, and rim protection, no matter how well you do those things, you're still a role player. You're a role player at that point, man. You are a role player. And there's honor in that, like I said. But if you go watch the tape, and you just can't say that he did that many things at a generationally talented level. You're going to see a lot of rebounds. You're going to see a lot of, put back layups, but there's nothing exceptional, man. And the question is, right, because it begs the question, why then do we view Bill Russell in the light that we did? And it comes from the fact that those Celtics teams were so dominant. And I'll go so far as to say this. When you look at a team that wins 11 championships, you're going to look at, okay, why is this team winning 11 championships? And in a time where the NBA was predominantly white dudes who weren't all that athletic, when you look at a 6'10" Bill Russell, it's hard not to say, okay, that guy's got to be the reason why they're really good. Look at him. Like, he looks physically so much different than everyone else, but that doesn't tell the whole story. That's just a little bit, I'm not going to lie to you, man, that's a little bit of narrative. The real generational player, I mean, people, a lot of times when I bring up the whole point of, the era that he played in and the people that he played around, people like to bring up Wilt Chamberlain because they like to say, because I'm a huge Wilt Chamberlain advocate, they like to say, well, Reagan, you have to have the same energy for Wilt Chamberlain then, because they played in the same era. No, I don't. I guess you want to know what I say to those people? I need those people to go to Home Depot, find them some duct tape, all right? Make sure they social distance. Don't get too close to no one now. Go get some duct tape, go home, sit down, and put the duct tape over their mouth because they're spouting BS. It's BS, man. It's BS. Will Chamberlain averaged literally twice as many points as Bill Russell did throughout their career.
Swap the players, and you tell me what happens. Will Chamberlain might have been a top 3 player of all time if you combine the winning.
I was talking to my dad about that earlier. I was like, Dad, what if you swap Will Chamberlain and Bill Russell? The dude that Will Chamberlain was physically, I'm not sure people really understand. Like, they like to equate Bill Russell and Will Chamberlain a lot because they came from the same era. But the dude that Will Chamberlain was physically, man, people don't really have a grasp, man. The dude was a world-class 400-meter dash runner. You look at, the Michael Johnsons of the world, he was the equivalent of that at that period in time. He was a world-class track and field star. He was able to bench 500 pounds, put a quarter on top of the backboard. He averaged over 48 minutes a game one season. Will Chamberlain and Bill Russell, to say like the kids like to say to you, we not the same. If I'm Will Chamberlain, I'm looking at Bill Russell, we not the same, dog. We not the same. Like, he's a different dude physically, not just for that era, but for any era, period. And if you need any more evidence to that, just look at Will and Bill when they went head to head. Look at the averages. Will Chamberlain, 29.9 points per game, 28.1 rebounds per game on 48.8% from the field. Bill Russell, 14.2 points per game.
Yeah.
5 less rebounds, 37% from the field. Come on, man. What are we doing? And here's what happens when I make that argument to people, man. They go back and they say, well, Bill Russell won 20 more games than Will Chamberlain in those head-to-heads. And that's what the argument always circles back to when it comes to Bill Russell, is the winning. And that's not what I'm trying to say here, because Bill Russell is not just the greatest winner in basketball history. I think Bill Russell is the greatest winner in all of sports history. And for that reason, like I keep saying, top 15 player all time. But when we look at these guys from a purely, objectively basketball talent perspective, Bill Russell ain't up there, man. He's not up there. I refuse to believe it. He's not up there. He was a very, very, very talented role player, and that's about it.
And again, this is not to bash Bill Russell. This is just to, say, hey, we got opinions. We got a little bit of a hot take. And again, we didn't do this. The people that are putting these lists out there are doing this to you guys. And we are giving you the medicine. We are the doctors. We are saying, no. You need that Robitussin. You need to actually watch the film. You need to watch the tape.
Yes, sir.
You need to look at things but beyond just championships. And again, it's not a knock on Bill Russell. Top 15 player of all time. I think that he's right outside the top 10. He's probably around 12, 13 range, 11 maybe. And again, I won't be super mad at you if you put him in your top 10. But he better not be over Kobe. He better not be over Magic Johnson. He can't be over Larry Bird. He can't even be over Hakeem. You can maybe make the argument just simply because Bill Russell won more than Hakeem that maybe cancels things out. But again, it's about what you value. And as I dove deeper more into this, I said, championships matter, no doubt, but that's more organizational things. That's more team-oriented. Let's talk about the player itself. And if Bill Russell went out there and scored like 30 points per game some years, then that's fine. But you can't have your cake and eat it too. He was a dominant defender. He was a great rebounder. He was a great winner. He's done a lot of things off the court. Bill Russell, if you were watching this, I mean no shame or nothing towards you. But I'm sorry, Bill Russell is the most overrated basketball player in history. And it's not because of what I've done. It's not because of what Reagan's done. It's because of what you guys have done by putting him on these lists and saying he's better than Kobe. He's better than Magic. Stop it. So that's all I got to say about that. Thank you so much for watching this video today. Please also note that the Juice Alert Sports Podcast is not just a YouTube channel. It is available on all podcasting platforms, including Spotify, Google Podcasts, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts. Also, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share this content with all your friends. This podcast is my favorite thing in the entire world right now. It is my passion. I want more people to listen to this podcast. I really want this podcast to grow. Also, a fun fact about me is that I want to go into the sports broadcasting and media world once I graduate from the University of Toledo, a college in Northern Ohio. I currently am a freshman there right now. I am looking to become one of the next great sports broadcasters and analysts out in the world. And I potentially would like to start my own network if this podcast really truly grows. Or if I fall short of that goal, I would love to work for a big-time network like ESPN or Fox Sports 1. I am open to all networks. So if you believe in my dreams and you see or hear my passion through the screen, be sure to tell all your friends about the Juice Alert Sports Podcast. Stay motivated, you guys. Have a God bless day, and I'm out.